Welcome all those that are tuned in. Um, I'm Kirk, and this is Dustin, my co-founder. Pretty excited about our Com News Live today. We have a guest. His name is Rich, and he's with the Idaho Department of Parks and Rec. And I actually found him several years ago when I went and he taught my kids the class that Idaho offers. And I'm going to go ahead and bring him in and let him kind of talk about that. So give me 1 second here. Hi, Rich. Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. Yeah. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
All right, Rich. Do you want to just give us a quick introduction about yourself and kind of what you do, and then we can kind of go from there?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So my name is Rich Gummersall. I'm the State Off-Highway Vehicle Education Coordinator. I've been with the Idaho Department of Parks and Recreation just over 20 years. I've been teaching the off-highway vehicle education portion for 18 of those years. I came in and developed our program starting at ground zero, focused on ATV curriculum first because that has been our state's historical fast grower until really the past 2 years. And now the UTV community is our fastest growing population. So we are starting to get some of our curriculum molded more to the bigger UTV style machines.
Oh, nice. And can you tell us a little bit about the curriculum and how it works and stuff when you guys go to the classes?
Yeah, absolutely. So our curriculum's all built on a building block style, which means, each lesson adds on the next, increasing the skills and the abilities. All of our lessons focus on throttle control, body position, how to properly move your body with the machine. We do a lot of straight line riding initially to get the throttle and brake control down. And then we get into more machine maneuvering with some gradual turns into more sharper turns, and then actually practice doing a sharp turn with an emergency stop in it. Once we get riders up to that level, the next piece we take them into is conducting quick changes in direction. So actually swerving the machine through cones. And then after that, we get into really what I consider is the meat and potatoes of the course, and we get individual riders on just a small 20 to 30 foot circle and get them going around in seated position on ATV and then standing position on an ATV. And then the UTVs, of course, stay seated throughout. But it really gives the instructor the one-on-one time with the student to identify what they've captured and done correctly, or what they still need to focus on to get their skills up to where when they leave the course, we feel confident that they're going to be able to operate safely in the backcountry. After we finish that one, then we do obstacle crossing and then lessons on a slope. A lot of people understand the concept of riding on a slope, but don't think about some of the hazards associated with it. And one of the lessons that I find to be a big eye-opener for not only the student, but the parent as well, is conducting a K-turn on an ATV, where you've powered out or you've lost momentum in some fashion and you actually need to turn the machine to head back downhill. So conceptually, it's pretty easy to think about, but when you get in practicality of doing it, it's kind of a frightening lesson. After that, we talk a lot about the stewardship side of the need for off-highway vehicle recreation. So our ATVs have been around quite a while, and in my opinion, they're kind of more gradually getting it. Our UTV community, a lot of new operators, so we really need to spend some time with that community to introduce the basic stewardship concepts of leave it better than you found it, stay on trail, use the motor vehicle use map provided by the Forest Service, so legally where you're at. But the stewardship side is my next push in our focus on the education pieces.
Oh, nice. So do you still do the flip book at the first, kind of teach them some of the general stuff, and then because my kids, when we took it with my kids, I actually took it with my daughter, and then I actually put my boy in as soon as he could, and I just remember some of the stuff of going through the flip book, and then actually the hands on, like when you go up on a hill, they dismount on the upper end by holding the brake, and My daughter still remembers this day trying to get over the board with her little four wheelers.
Right.
She so tended to push it across the ground, but she eventually got it to throttle out and pull the handlebars and sit back. But that was pretty cool that you guys go
Yeah.
through that.
Yep, yep. The format really hasn't changed. We do start lesson one is laws, rules, and requirements in the state of Idaho. So yeah, we go through our off-highway vehicles in Idaho's brochure, introduce them to the legal side of operating, and that's kind of more the 30,000 foot level. We send that one home with the students, and then the primary focus is that safety and stewardship piece.
Oh, nice. And is it still done in one session in the afternoon?
Yes, sir. Yep. I've been able to streamline it over the years now. So when I first started teaching, a class took me anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, and now we've gotten to where our lessons work much better, and you can really count on a class running from 2 to 2.5, 3 hours maximum now. So we really have ironed it out to where we focus on the important pieces that we need to teach as an instructor, and then provide the parent the resources to continue that education after the class.
And how many kids can be in a class, or kids or adults can be in a class, one class at a time?
So the range can only support 10 machines. So 10 is our max. We hold classes for one student. If we do travel, though, now with gas prices and everything the way they are now, we've got a minimum of 3 students. So
Okay.
traveling for us is anywhere 50 miles from our home station. But yeah, 10 students is the max.
And you still issue the card?
Yes, sir. Yes. And, you know, speaking about the cards, if anybody that's watching doesn't know, Utah just enacted mandatory education for all riders. So effective January 1, no matter your age or vehicle type, you got to have that education certificate. Oregon's been that way for a while, but our course card completion certificate here meets those requirements in both Idaho as well as Utah and Oregon. And the specifics to Idaho, anybody under the age of 16 who is going to be operating on a Forest Service road must have that card. So when you think about leaving a trailhead and you think, oh, I'm only going to ride designated trails, at some point, I can almost guarantee you will cross a road. So much better safe than sorry. Our classes are free. They're paid for by the IDPR registration sticker process. So that $12 sticker that you pay for pays for the class. So the only thing that the individual is out is a little time in the evening or the weekend, and then the gas to come to class.
Nice. What cities do you typically go to?
Everyone that I can. So
Everyone.
uh, we now have 3 educators in the state. We've got an educator out of our Coeur d'Alene office that handles really everything from Grangeville north. We've got another out of our Idaho Falls office that handles that eastern side of the state, and then I take care of the western side, and I try to get border to border, top to bottom. I've got classes coming up. We've got a safety fair coming up in Magic Mountain, where in one day we hold 9 classes and certify 60 students, which has been a great process and program. And as soon as that's over, I'm in New Plymouth, Cascade, Boise, Nampa, Mountain Home, all over the place. We try to get the course as close to the user as possible.
Nice. And what do they need for their course?
They only need to bring their own vehicle, the safety equipment, so DOT approved helmet, eye protection, long sleeve shirt, gloves, sturdy pants over the ankle, boots, and then of course the vehicle with a current year's registration sticker on it.
Okay. And once they take the class, so are they good? Is it like reciprocity, so they can go to Idaho and Oregon and do it, or do they have to take the specific Oregon and Idaho one or Utah one to do?
At this point, all of the Western states have reciprocity. So Utah certificate's good in Idaho, Idaho's good in Utah, vice versa. So unlike the registration where you have to have everything, that one still crosses borders.
Nice. And so you're saying Utah's requiring everybody, not just 16 and younger. It's everybody has to take the class.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Oh,
And so there's a fine if they don't take it. If they don't, like, you get it fined, like a
I
ticket for not doing it.
I would imagine everything that I've seen in their legislation leads me to believe that yeah, there's an infraction associated with it. So in Idaho, you're looking at an infraction anywhere from $79 to $109. So could be very similar in Utah. But you always have to consider if you're dealing with a county law enforcement officer or a federal law enforcement officer, because if you deal with the feds, all the prices are much higher.
And so if they do pull you over, you just need to show them your card and you're good, or do they have that in the system? Are we registered in the system at all
No,
that we've taken the class?
unfortunately, our database doesn't talk to the state ILET. So what
Okay.
we recommend is have the parents make a copy of the card and then literally tape it to the back of the helmet, and then that way,
Oh,
as the law enforcement officer walks up, they see right away that they've been to a safety class. So it takes that whole question answer session out, and then if the child does damage the helmet or lose that, they've got the master copy still at home that they can make duplicate copies with. But
that's great
yeah,
information. Because I've just been carrying the cards in my side by side, and sometimes if we forget the one side by side and take the other one, it's like, oh crap, I forgot that they're in the other side by side. So yeah, that's a great idea.
right.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Right. Well, and looking back, you probably came through when we were still issuing green laminated cards. We've
Uh-huh.
grown up now. We have actual plastic, lifelong, good-looking cards now. So
Okay.
maybe time to come to a refresher, and we can get you squared away.
Yeah, I'll have to come to refresh with the kids. So it was definitely worth it. But yeah, they still remembered. I was going to bring one of my kids with me and have them talk about the course, but they were too busy. So, so
Yeah.
I know with my kids, I always teach them, if you're coming on a corner, you brake before you go into the corner,
Correct.
because on
Yep.
those
You want
side
to
by
set the
side,
machine up.
yeah, if you turn, sometimes it hits that gravel and you're going straight. If you turn that too hard, you're going to go over the edge.
Yep.
So
Yep.
brake, get the speed that you want to take that corner at while you're going straight, and then adjust it.
You're
That's something you
exactly
guys
right.
teach too?
Yep, you're
yeah,
exactly right. You always want to set that machine up for its next input. And
Yeah.
then, one of the biggest things that you see out of new riders or even some older riders that have gotten lazy is not getting that appropriate head turn. You need to look where you want to go. One of the biggest things in off highway vehicles is where you look is where you're going to ride. So we get a lot of kids, especially on that obstacle lesson, they focus on the obstacle. So they just nail the obstacle and can't get up and over it because they're not looking beyond. But
Yeah.
yeah, you're absolutely right on setting that vehicle up.
I read I used to be in mountain biking, and I used to read a lot of mountain biking articles, and it was the same concept with them. They said, don't focus on the obstacle, because it's the same principle as when you teach a kid to hit a baseball, right? You watch where you want to go. You don't watch around the baseball, you watch the baseball. And so you're used to seeing the obstacle, but you have to apply that concept to not stare at it usually, right? I mean, you're used to keeping your eye on the ball, but the ball this time is the path through,
yeah.
Right.
not the
Yep.
obstacle.
Yep. Yeah. And so with the UTV community, a lot of people spatially don't understand the vehicle. So a lot of our lessons on the UTV side talk about more of that spatial awareness, understanding, okay, this is the edge of the machine, but you have to remember where your tire sits in relation to your edge. So if you do have those obstacles, ruts, or something that you've got to cross, where are you spatially within that trail environment?
Yeah, it's a lot harder you can't see that passenger front wheel. You just kind of you gotta feel for it. It's
I did
like
a
on an ATV, you can see both your front wheels, right? So
We had
Right.
one of our customers stop by, I don't know, last 3 weeks, and he had put a rocker switch, and the rocker switch upwards was showing that front tire corner,
oh, nice.
and the back one would show the backup. So if you go down, it was showing your backup. The front would show you that front corner, all on a rocker switch.
For like rock crawling.
Yeah. So,
Oh,
or anytime you're in one of those
nice.
situations, I'm like, man, that's like the two blind spots in the UTV behind
Right.
you in that front corner.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So another one of the lessons we do with the UTVs is actually a backing lesson. Um, I was just had my eyes open. We did a class, and the young man kept just looking down. I'm like, "Are you going to use your mirrors?" He goes, "No, I have a camera." I had no idea that UTVs now are set up with backup cameras.
Yeah, they need them.
Yeah, yeah, they're getting to the size now where spatially you need that resource.
Yeah. I mean, four-wheelers, you can spin around really easy. You're turning at the waist. UTVs, you're jammed in there.
Looks like we got a comment here from Phil, so let's just pull it up here.
Yeah, I see that. He says that he still pokes his head out of his side-by-side like he's on a bike, right? Yeah, absolutely.
I do the same thing. I don't know. I have a hard time trusting the camera for some reason, so I'm still looking at my mirrors. I mean, I still look at the camera once in a while, but most of the time I'm the old school guy where I'm looking at my camera or my mirrors.
Yeah.
Well, mirrors are still helpful to see the side profile.
Oh yeah.
But they don't show you there's a
behind
tricycle behind you
right
to run over.
Yeah.
Or a stump when you're backing up
yeah,
where the
you're
stump
right.
is.
You're right. So
right.
Definitely. All right. Any other insight? Where can we find the class?
So we have a learning management system. All of our classes are posted out to www.reced, which is reced.idaho.gov.
Here we go.
And they're listed again throughout the state. Wherever we're holding a class, it's on there. The registration process is a little cumbersome. You first have to register for an account, and then you'll get a confirmation email. Once you've completed that confirmation, then you can enroll in classes.
Can you give me the URL really quick again?
Yeah, it's reced, reced.idaho.gov.
Okay. I just want to post this so that we can people can see it.
Yep. And so
there we go.
We had to make that change because when parents wanted to register multiple children, they had difficulty using that same email address multiple times. So now once a parent creates that master account, they can have as many children, family members under that one account as they desire. So that get over that little cumbersome part in the spot and then come through. If you have problems, give me a call at the office and I'll get you squared away.
Okay. I can just I'll post this link and also your office number at the end. And so people watching our video can just go to it and hopefully we can get a few more people to your class. So.
Yeah. So especially operators that have been doing it a while, every year we do a curriculum review and I'm always looking for better ways to make the program much more user-friendly or vehicle operation safe. So yeah, if somebody feels that they've been doing it and they really know what they're doing, please come to a class and let's discuss the what's and how's afterwards. And, maybe we make a tweak to one of our lessons that makes it that much better.
Well, I've been riding since I was 8 years old. When I came to your class with my daughter, I still learned some stuff. So it was pretty, I really enjoyed it. So, and it really had some eye openings for my daughter and stuff too. So.
Yeah. If you start with that nice solid foundation, it's easy to build up from there. For those of us that, we learned to ride by dad or grandpa saying, okay, here you go out in the field and have fun. You really do nothing but, build your own riding habits. So coming back through a course that has some specifics to it, it really helps all levels of rider.
Yeah, definitely.
Very cool.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and then I think really the other thing for anybody that gets in your viewership, if you're not a member of a club, you really need to be. When you think about opportunity over the last, well, let's say since 1978 up through this year, we have lost 40% of our opportunities. So 40% of the trails that we had in 1978 no longer exist. So part of that's through stewardship issues. Part of it's through the land managers just not having the staff to take it. But a unified voice fights our battles. So, join the Idaho Recreation Council, any of your local clubs. So we have that unified voice that we can take to our land managers to hopefully fight our fight to keep our opportunity available.
Yeah. We've donated to several like SolarX, Salt Lake Off-Road Expo. Their key hashtag is Offroaders Unite. So it's not only just side by sides, it's UTVs, ATVs, Jeeps.
We had
things. So
what's her head on a couple weeks ago?
Sandra Mitchell.
Yep.
Yeah, we were just talking about that before we went live. So he knows Sandra and how much of a resource she is and a fighter for us. That was a really good live that we had on with her. So we'll definitely bring her back.
When we have somebody leading the fight like that, we need to get behind them. We need to stand united. And whether you're a mountain biker or an ATV rider, we're fighting for the same ground.
Yep.
It's the same opportunity. So we need to get beyond the I'm motorized and I'm non-motorized, and let's fight for a unified public land.
Yeah, even the infighting that we have between like motorcycles, Jeeps, side by sides. So even sometimes the ATVs and side by sides, it seems like that infighting and the snowmobiling too. We just need to all unite together because we all share the same trails and stuff. So, yep, we're a small community, but I think if we get together, we have a pretty big voice. So.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've got just over 160,000 registered OHVs in Idaho. So
wow,
we are a strong force. We did a economic impact study that when I get back in the office, I'll have to send it to you. We as motorized recreation bring in more dollars to Idaho than hunting.
Oh, wow.
Yes, sir.
That's kind of shocking.
Yes, sir.
I'd love to see that study.
Yeah, I would love to see the study. Yeah, we could post that and put that on one of our blogs or something like that. That would be a good one to link, or we could link to yours or whatever. So
yeah,
if you can send that to me, I can link to yours. So yep.
Yeah, I would throw out some numbers right now, but I would definitely get it wrong. So I will share it so we can get the true information out there.
Awesome. All right. Well, we've been on here for a little bit. Anything last remarks or anything, Rich, before we close out?
No, I appreciate you guys having me. Anything we can do for our motorized, our recreation community, Idaho Parks and Recreation is here. I appreciate the information you guys provide and you bringing our community closer and getting the information out.
Phil said, great topic. Yep. Thanks for offering off-road focused training. Thanks, Phil. I'm sure Rich appreciates it. So. All right. Looks like we got one more. Oh, Sam says thank you as well. So thanks for your time. So
right on. Yeah, I appreciate being here. It was interesting. I told you when we started, this was my first online. I was a little nervous going in. I've done a lot of public speaking, but I've never understood or really thought about what's behind the online. But it's fun.
Yep.
We need to do it again.
Yeah, we'll definitely bring you on again. So that's if you like to come on. So we've enjoyed doing this. What are we doing? 2 months now. So, and it's been fun. We've learned a lot, and we talk a lot about our product, but we like to bring in other subjects as well. So this is really good for us. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Rich. We'll sign off, and we'll see you next time. So
right on. Appreciate you guys.